Right, we are live,
Yeah,
bro. Nice. I
live.
hope. Okay, today we are getting more charismatic and less boring.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we watched back like our other episodes. I'm like, why are we so boring, bro? But it's all right, man. It's all right. We'll just get into it. Yeah, just
Yeah.
as a disclaimer, guys. By the way, sorry, like last week we couldn't go live.
Oh,
There was
bro,
actually
what's
like
the
it was the
the
worst
Facebook
thing, man. We were,
outage,
yeah, it was a Facebook outage last Monday,
bro?
and for some
Yeah,
reason, this the our streaming software, StreamYard,
it's also for that because they had
yeah, I
like a lot of
believe, yeah.
connections to
I think they were
Facebook.
using the same servers or something,
Yeah,
and yeah, StreamYard wasn't letting us go live. Um, so yeah, we do apologize about that. So, but
yeah,
yeah, man, here we are. Hopefully, it wasn't too
and
long of a wait.
and also another thing, we kind of shifted from Mondays 5 p.m. to Wednesdays 5 p.m.
Yeah,
Mainly because I just felt like Monday people usually have a lot of things to catch up on, and it's not the right time, especially people from like the States or something. Monday is not the most free. So
yeah.
we thought Wednesday will be better. So let's
Hmm.
see if that works. But
Let's
yeah,
see. So
today
again, guys, we
let's
do
yeah.
apologize, man. It wasn't our fault. It was StreamYard's fault. We were ready to go live. Like we were, usually what we do is half an hour before the stream,
Yeah.
we
We
like
were actually
plan what we're
waiting
gonna
half an
say.
hour after that as well, right? Like
Yeah, we literally
5:45.
waited until like 5:30,
Yeah.
5:45, but
But
it wasn't allowing us. And yeah, that's why we had to cancel and reschedule. But yeah,
yeah.
hopefully, like, we didn't disappoint any of you guys. And yeah, man, again, this one's going to be packed with a lot of value. We're going to be doing something that's a bit different than what we usually do, which is reviewing websites, which we will talk about. But this episode
I
is
think I
all
should just
about
go to yeah.
how to go from selling websites, specifically Webflow websites that are worth $1,000, and increasing your prices all the way to 10,000 and above. There's no limit here. So yeah, man, let's just get straight into it, bro. Let's go.
Cool. I think we kind of went into like disclaimers before
Yeah,
even the topics, but today we'll be talking about like selling $1,000 websites and $10,000 websites, and we tried our best to find like differences in each of it. We didn't want to trash anyone for $1,000 or praise anyone too much for $10,000. We know it's very
yeah,
difficult, but we tried our best to find websites that we think might fall within this price, and we're just gonna be like not critiquing, but like just giving our opinions, and
yeah.
nothing too harsh, hopefully. Cool. Let's
Sure, man.
jump into what makes it a beginner website. How do you know it's a beginner website?
Yeah. So a beginner website, I mean, it's from the name, right? It's made by a beginner, but what actually, how can you tell a website is made from a beginner? I mean, a beginner website is usually, I mean, we put it on the screen here. It's going to be worth between $500 to $1,000, just around that range. It could be a bit lower, but that
Yeah.
is how much we believe a beginner should sell the websites for.
Yeah.
And
Again,
by
it
beginner, yeah,
just another disclaimer is
yeah,
like it depends on where you live and like how much you make. But based on what we know within the industry, $500 to $1,000 isn't a lot for a website.
yeah,
So that's why
sure.
we are classifying that as a beginner website. But yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
and yeah, it's going to be, I mean, all of these websites, I believe, are between 3 to 5 pages. Am I correct? Yeah. So
Yeah.
all of these websites are either, actually, they're either like really high quality landing pages, or they're between 3 to 5, a normal service business, or
Yeah.
whatever business website. So $500 to 1,000 is, the normal range of a beginner website. And what makes a beginner website? I mean, we talked about this before, but it's not gonna have the best design, and it's not going to be developed properly. Just by looking at a beginner website, you can just tell that it's made from a beginner, right? There's going to be something off about it, and most
Yeah.
often it's going to be that it's missing a lot of details. For
Yeah.
example, animations are not correct, the images are not compressed properly, so the website is loading a lot slower. Um, hierarchy of the text in terms of design is not accurate. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that makes a beginner website, and so yeah, that's what I would say. Vimalan, you want to add to that, or
Yeah. I would say beginner websites usually just look very plain. They don't look, not
it's
captivating.
cookie
And that's
cutter? Yeah,
because, yeah, and that's because as a beginner, you don't know what you can do. And even if you know what you can do, you don't know how to do it. So we usually end up with just left, right, center content. and just scrolling pages with like fade out, fade ins. There isn't
Yeah,
a finesse to the website, and that I'm guilty of that as well. Even in my very very first website, it's very cookie cutter. I'm just copying what other people have done and just trying to do it myself, which is how you learn. But that's a very very obvious sign that this website was built by a beginner. It's not a
yeah,
bad thing if you're starting out, but if you're still building websites like a beginner after very very long, it kind of shows the quality of your work.
for
Yeah. So
sure.
for
And
me,
the
it's just details.
yeah, definitely
Yeah.
details. And I don't know if this is like a set thing, but I found a lot
It-
of beginner websites to use like really bad icons and
oh
graphics.
my god.
Like for
The
me,
especially the ones that
font's
from
awesome.
the
When you
yeah.
talk about that, bro, I was literally gonna say that because for me, when I was beginner, I used font awesome everywhere. Every icon was font
Same.
awesome.
Yeah.
Now I design, my own icons, but
Yeah.
it's just I don't know why. It's just a thing that every beginner website
Because
the
you
graphics
don't know you
are from
again
font
you are not
awesome.
armed with the tools, right? Like everyone's armed
Yeah,
with the same tools. And another thing is they all use Google fonts. Nobody they don't find different fonts. It's just either Poppins or what's
yeah,
the other one? Montserrat. How do you pronounce that?
yeah, yeah. I think that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
Montserrat,
Montserrat. It's just
Poppins,
very basic
Montserrat.
font. You just look at it, you're like, oh my god, yeah. Can you just
Yeah,
use anything else? If you have Adobe accounts, Adobe fonts is
yeah,
a good place. Or you can find like free fonts from DAW fonts. You can filter for like free, 100% free fonts. Stuff like this is very beginner because again, you're not armed with the tool.
yeah.
Also another one, it's those images, the stock images from Pixels.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
that is
yeah.
also a very cookie cutter thing of like,
And the
you're not.
image never ever relates to what you're actually talking about. Like,
And that kind of relates back to the client as well. They don't have the
yeah,
budget for it, so you're trying to do the best you can with free stuff
work,
out there.
yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
gotta
most beginner
submit.
websites have these, kind of funny, uh,
Yeah,
like font awesome and all these images from pixels and stuff. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think the main thing, right, is there's no. I mean, it depends on the beginner website, but in general, there's no hierarchy, in my opinion.
yeah,
And again, the designs are very basic, plain, like center to the middle, left or right, image, text, image, whatever.
yeah,
Very, very, very
yeah,
plain.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what that is. Do you wanna?
Cool.
And now what we're gonna do is jump into an example of a practical example of what we think is a beginner website
Yeah,
and what
sure.
makes a
Yeah.
beginner website. So
Cool. Yeah, let me
I'm just
just.
gonna share our screen.
This always makes it more difficult than it should be, but yeah. Are you gonna share your screen, or am I sharing my screen?
Yeah, I think you should share your
Yeah,
screen.
sure.
Can you do that? Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Yeah,
Okay, cool. Let's go.
cool. Is this one right?
Yeah, yeah, it's this one.
Yeah.
So, you know what?
So I yeah,
Let's change the language to English.
it is
Can
in
we do that?
English, isn't it?
It is in English, no?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's some. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. Cool. Let's go.
Cool. So
Okay.
talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So AP grade. Now we don't want to be trashing on other websites, but it's
Yeah.
just the way it is, right? We had to choose one, and we chose this. So again,
The
this is
first
what we
one,
mentioned.
can I mention the first one?
Go on for sure. Go on.
Just
Yeah.
set a max width to this one. It's just too long,
Yeah.
and it just looks odd the moment when you land on the site. Just
Mm.
add a max width so it cuts off in the center or stack them side to side. That will look better, but this is just way too long.
Yeah, and just from what I can tell, you can see the navigation. I'm not sure why they centered the nav links all the way to the left. They should have done it to the middle
True.
because the
Yeah.
hero section, you can see that the text is aligned to the center.
Yeah,
So
true.
it would make sense to make the nav links aligned to the middle as
And
well.
it's just way too big, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
you
don't
can
need a
see it
logo
takes
to
up a
be
lot of
that big.
space.
Make the logos bigger. It's a classic.
Yeah. So again, it's just these
it,
little
it, it
details
doesn't
that
look bad.
make
It
a
doesn't
huge
look
difference.
bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just details like, there's just a bit too much padding in the footer.
Mhm.
The nav, I just feel is just a bit too big with too big of a logo up here.
Yeah. And you can even
But
tell
yeah,
the images on the latest news section. If you scroll down, you can
yeah,
just tell they're from
stock.
Pixels.
Yeah, this one pixels.
I've
Yeah,
seen these pictures before, so I know. And also the section below that, you can see that there's an image on the right.
Yeah.
And from what I can see, I'm not sure how that image relates to what the
Are you a
section is about.
candidate? Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
person with some code on his face. So there's just these little stuff, right, where it just doesn't make sense, and there's just some stuff that could
Yeah.
have been done a lot better, by just
Hey
paying
yo.
attention to the
Hello.
details.
Hello. Cool.
What's
Yeah.
up,
Sorry.
guys? Yeah, let's
I mean,
finish
I
up
really
this
like the
website.
colors and like the use of icons, but it just feels very plain, that there isn't
Yeah.
anything maybe that's what the client wanted. We don't know, but it just feels like it's a template. It doesn't feel like a website that someone
Hmm.
put some time to think and like design the best that they could.
Yeah, and you can also
Yeah.
see, I think there was a contact page somewhere, right at the bottom. Yeah, over here as well, you can see that the copywriting as well, like
Yeah.
quick contact. What does that mean? Like, is not only the design that is beginner, it's the
Yeah.
copywriting as well that's beginner. Like
Yeah.
quick contact, it could have been a lot better just by simply changing that into get in touch or
Yeah.
whatever is a lot better than saying
Again,
quick
yeah,
contact.
a classic thing, even I think I still do in my old website, is that you forget to set a max width for
Mm,
paragraphs
yeah.
or containers like this. It's just very odd
Yeah,
looking at
people
this. Like,
won't like, because I think there's like a rule where, the normal person, for they can't read text that is that long. I don't know
yeah,
how many characters it is. I believe it's 60 characters, but they can
yeah,
only read text that's 60 characters long until the text breaks off to another line. So
yeah,
yeah, whenever you're, I mean, if this was me or Vimalan designing this website, I would definitely set a max width to that text on the hero for sure.
yeah. Cool. Hey Moreno. Yeah, we kind of touched on this earlier in the first few episodes of the podcast. Um, Maybe we can help with that later if you have
Yeah,
time, but we have touched on these issues in like the first second episodes, so you can watch that. And
yeah.
is there a
If you
question
just
and
go
answer
to
at the
our
end?
channel, you'll see.
We can. We never
For
had it
sure.
before because nobody asks us any questions, but if you do,
Yeah.
we will try our best to answer it.
So yeah, at the end,
But
if you
yeah,
can see, watch all the way to the end, and you can ask us as many questions as you like, and we'll come up with the best response.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, in terms of your question before about how to get clients, we made a lot of episodes before this one.
yeah,
We talk about how to market yourself, how to stand out, where to start, and all of that stuff. So just make sure you watch those episodes, and yeah, that'll give you a lot of insight, and it will prime you to learn how to get clients.
yeah. The way
Um,
we structured the stream was that there's a flow to each episode. So the
yeah,
first episode is about how we got started. Second is about how do you get started with Webflow. I believe the third one was how do you
how
find
to make money,
clients?
I believe so.
Yeah, how to
Yeah,
make money. I
yeah,
think that's the episode that will probably help you with this one.
and then is how to market, and then is this one.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's all in chronological order, like step by step episode. So make sure you watch
yeah.
those. Those are really helpful. Um,
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah. So now, what makes an intermediate website?
right.
And I
So an
think
intermediate
a
website,
disclaimer here is that
yeah,
I would say we fall into this category. We are not so world class experts yet,
yeah,
but we definitely aren't a beginner for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. We're not beginners, but we're
Yeah.
not the top level experts, like the top 1% of the industry.
Not
You
yet.
know, so yeah, we're like at the higher end of the scale, but we're not like right at the top. So
Not yet.
yeah, just take our advice with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, what makes an intermediate website 2,000 to 5,000? It could be between the range. Again, it could be a bit higher, a bit lower, depending on where you're from. But yeah, an intermediate website is just going to be a level or two above a beginner website, where a beginner website there's no attention to detail, but an intermediate website there's some attention to detail. And in an intermediate website, if you're paying $2,000 for a website, the design has to be on point. There can't be no breaking of laws, you can say, of basic design rules. For example, hierarchy. The hierarchy has to be on point. What we mentioned in the previous example of a beginner website, you should set a max width to long text, and all of
Yeah.
this stuff is on point. If that stuff is not on point, then it's not intermediate. It's actually a beginner, because you're making beginner mistakes.
Yeah.
Um, so on the intermediate, that's what that is.
Should we
And
should I should we go to the example or You want to
If
talk through the
you want to
example
add,
as well?
yeah, if you want
Yeah.
to add some stuff on, then yeah. If not, then we can
Yeah.
just move on to the example.
Yeah, I think we can just talk through the example,
Yeah,
and
go
the
on.
best way is definitely this one.
Yeah.
So I'll give an intro to this one. SignFlow is uh your
Self
design
promotion.
baby. Yeah. So you designed this, right? And
Yeah,
you
I
built it?
designed and developed this.
Yeah.
Yeah, using the client first system by FinSuite. So shout out to them.
Yeah. And as you can see, it's an immediate step up from this. Like you can clearly see what's the difference between a template-ish, beginner-ish website to something someone has designed with purpose, created, assets that match the copy, and their icons that aren't,
Custom.
just
Yeah.
generic. Yeah, they're not generic icons. And you can see the whole site has a very custom feel to it. Especially, stuff like this, just small details like this. It literally just could be a card that centered 1 2 3, but no, you took a step extra to make it a
Yeah.
sticky and it falls. And again, it's just details like this is what makes a website stand. And if anyone falls into this website, they're not going to think, oh, this is a template website, right? They're going to
Hmm.
think, oh, somebody has definitely designed this and built it from scratch. And that's
Scratch. Yeah.
why you use Webflow, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. And I don't want to toot my own horn over here, but I
I
do
did
want
it
to
for
talk
you.
a little bit. I do want to talk a little bit about this website. So
Yeah.
I mean, you can just tell that it's not a beginner website. Firstly, by the copy, and also
Yeah.
you can see there's a lot of custom elements that you can't find on Pexels or
Yep.
Unsplash or
Yep.
Font Awesome. You can see that there's a lot of everything is custom made,
Yeah.
from the graphics to the logo, and even the copywriting. You can see at the bottom right
Yeah.
over here, you can see that some of the text on the headings of the sections, for example, where it says sign flow, is for the community. The sign
Yeah.
flow is in curly brackets, and I use that for almost every section. That just adds a bit of personality
Yeah.
to the website. So just little stuff like this can really,
Yeah.
step up your level in terms of from beginner to intermediate. And if you click on
And
one of the FAQs as well, you can see
yeah.
that there is an animation
Yeah.
from that. You can see that the plus changes into a cross, and when you go
Yeah.
back, it changes back into a plus. And
And for
also you
me,
can see,
what I
yeah,
really like is that when you come into something like this, you have a lot of questions, and I
hmm,
like that you answered the questions, so that I don't
yeah,
have to go and search it up for myself. Stuff like this. Why it's so short is something when you look at the site, when you clone it and you look at it, you're like, oh, why is it so weird? And then when you look at this,
yeah,
you're like, oh, okay, that kind of answers it. Again, stuff like
yeah,
this is what an expert or like an intermediate user is known for. Like you
yeah.
can anticipate what the whoever's
The
scrolling to the
users,
sites.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so I
yeah, this
mean,
is
when I
cool
was
as well.
designing this website, I wanted
Yeah.
to, kind of take the user step by step. I was putting myself in the user's shoes. Whereas in
Yeah.
the beginner website, you just list, okay, XYZ without any kind of, um, premise of what the user's thinking or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, with this website, I really thought, what do I want the user to think first? That's why on the right of the hero section, there was a direct example of what sign was going to look like. And you can
Yeah.
see I even added a bit of personality by creating some funny kind of emails. So you can see it just little stuff like this really adds a bit of personality, and it just makes your value, it just increases the value of the website that much more. Um
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's what I would say for intermediate.
Cool. And then just to toot my horn a little bit, I'll bring Inflow, which is like I think one of the very first clonables I made,
Hmm.
and it really blew up for I have no idea why. I thought it was a very generic ish design when I was building it. And that's the thing with designers is that when you start designing something, you just end up not liking it by the time it's done. So when I put it as a clonable, I was like, oh, nobody's gonna clone it. I expect no one to clone it, but it has like what
Yeah,
300 clones or something like that right now. And you know, now looking at it, I'm like, I see why people clone it, because there are things that I thought was very, anyone would do, but it's apparently not. Like it has thought put into it. For example,
yeah,
like this icon thing is pretty
yeah.
much
We were
built
literally
on
just talking
Webflow.
about that.
Yeah. And I thought everyone knew it was, it's just built natively on Webflow. It's just two div blocks moving around in loop. for me it was just very like, oh, I mean, what's so special about it? But then when I was
Yeah,
explaining it to you, and you're like, oh, that you're like, oh, that's how it works. I was like,
yeah,
all right,
because I thought it was a
maybe,
background video, but it was
yeah,
actually native, which is yeah, that's what we're talking about here, guys. Like an intermediate or expert will do stuff that a beginner would say, "Oh no, what's the point? I'm just wasting time." Like Vimalan could have easily not have done that. He could have just made a static background color, but he chose to go that extra mile and do that, and that's what differentiates the beginners and experts and intermediates. I think I mentioned this before, but it's one of my favorite quotes. All you have to do is step out a third of an inch in order to
yeah,
stand out. So yeah,
yeah,
just stand out a third of an inch, and that's how you can increase your levels of your website. So
yeah,
yeah.
cool. And then
Cool.
yeah, I think that should let me remove that. So that should give you an idea of what an intermediate website is.
Yeah.
Between $2,000 to $5,000. This is what quality work that you should be doing. And again, you can be doing more. We're not saying this is the maximum or the best work, but it gives you a good idea, a difference between beginner websites and the intermediate websites, right?
Yeah, and just to recap, a beginner website, there's no real a
It's
lot
a
of the
feeling.
normal design laws are, they're
Yeah,
broken, right? Like
yeah,
hierarchy, text, weight, and all of that stuff is non-existent, and there's no flow. There's a lot of details that are missing. Maybe a client that hasn't, is not familiar with our industry will look at that website and be like, "Oh, this is a nice website." Well, for people that know technology, will know that something is off. Um, so yeah, that's what a beginner website is, and an intermediate website is where you pay attention to all of the details, all of your design laws are met. So
yeah,
hierarchy, text weight, typography, all of that stuff is met, as well as adding some unique custom look and feel to stuff. And every section flows with,
yeah,
and you're designing with the user in mind, right?
yeah.
So yeah, that's what intermediate is. Now we're
Cool.
going to move on to expert. So what makes a
Experts.
expert website? And I believe that is between 10,000 to 20,000, but
And
it
it could
could
be
be more,
more.
right? It could be a
Yeah,
lot more. It could be up to 100,000, right?
yeah.
But
As
with
insane as it sounds,
yeah,
it is true.
it's true. Like world
Yeah,
class websites are really expensive.
yeah,
World class websites have world class pricing.
yeah.
That's just what it is.
And
And
another thing is that the longer you are in the industry, the more sense it makes. Like when I
mhm,
first got started, I was like, why would anyone pay more than $2,000 for a website? It's not that difficult.
mhm,
But the more time you spend doing this work, you realize that they're not paying you for the time, but they're paying you for the ideas that you can generate, the
mhm.
value you can bring to the website. And that took
And
me, about 2 years to understand is that it's not about what you think you're worth, it's about what the client thinks you're worth.
yeah,
And I think
the
the
market
example,
dictates your value.
yeah, and I think the example that we will share will make it very, very clear on why some websites can cost up towards $50,000,
Hmm.
right? And I
Yeah,
think should I just share the
yeah. Just go and share that. Yeah,
cool? Yeah. So this, I think, it was a pretty old project from Joseph Berry,
yeah.
but
Shout out to
it's
Joseph Berry, man. He's a legend in the
the guy's gold.
web
Like
design
this
game.
is yeah, but the website still holds up fantastically. I still look at it. I'm like, damn, it's just so well designed.
Yeah.
And yeah, so let's just give it a scroll and then we can talk about it. And again, as you know, this is just a landing page to promote this accessory for your phone. And you could just put text left, right, center text with images that explain it. But no, he took that extra effort to make it very, very interactive. And something like this is just it just makes sense when you're just scrolling through the site. It's like, that's how it works,
Hmm.
you know and this interactivity with the website is why I think this is an expert level website. And you see, it's just insane how much thought he has put into this one to just make it unique. Stuff like this, every section is very, very unique, right?
Yeah.
And again, notice that the copy matches the content, like the image that they're using, which is very, very important, on websites. It's
Yeah,
just
man.
insane on how
Yeah.
much detail there is on this website.
Yeah. And you can see that right at the end, he had a section where it says shop now is a CTA.
Yeah.
And he could have easily put that right at the front, but you're not putting the user in mind, right?
Yeah.
You can put that at the front and no one will buy it, right? But Joseph Berry, he had to tell a story before he goes to that section.
Yeah.
And that is the key thing about this website. That's what makes it so expensive, you can say. But
Yeah.
I would rather use the word valuable. That's what makes it so valuable, is that it
Yeah.
tells a story rather than just listing out something like the beginner website or one of our websites, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah.
I think the fact that you mentioned when we were talking about this earlier, you're like, oh, the animations are not difficult to make.
Hmm.
Yeah, even when I saw this a year and a half to 2 years ago as a complete beginner, I was like, oh, I can see how you made that. It's just while scrolling into view and you just move this from here to
Yeah.
here. I see how it's done. But then just to think about doing that as stuff like while you're designing is just insane. And
Yeah.
that's why they are paying you for. They're not paying you for a website like this, right? You
Hmm.
can you can definitely get someone for like $1,000 to do just duplicate this site for you, right? But you're paying that person to think of concepts like this, like, okay, maybe we can have a scroll interview animation. It goes from 0 to 100, and
Yeah.
then you can see how it dims out or stuff like this. You can easily just have all the phones arranged with the text on the left
Yeah.
or on the right. But then the thought that he said, okay, let's make it a sticky and the images of the phone just scrolls by, that is why they're paying you
Exactly.
upwards over £10,000 for this.
Yeah, and this literally falls in line to exactly what Vim said previously, where the older you get, the more experience you get in this industry,
Yeah,
the less you're going to get paid for your skills, and the more,
yeah.
actually, the less you're going to get paid for your work, you can say,
Well,
for
but
developing.
more for your
And yeah, the
thoughts.
more you're
Yeah,
going to get paid for your thinking,
yeah,
right? So let me just repeat that one more time, right? The more experience you get in this industry, the less you get paid for your work, and the more you're gonna get paid for your thinking.
yeah.
That's
Because
what it all
even
is about,
even for
right?
us, right? Like now, after about 2 years working on Webflow, we build websites very, very quickly. And if you're just
Hmm.
charging by the hour rate, it will just go down because the better you get at something, the faster you're going to do it. So
Hmm.
it makes no sense to charge more than, as a beginner, you take 10 hours to do a website. As an expert, it's only going to take you like 1 hour to do the
Hmm.
whole thing, right? Doesn't mean you're going to be charging them just for the 1 hour. You're going to be charging them for the whole thing. Like I think Chris Doe mentions it, you're not paying me for the 10 minutes, you're paying me for the 10 years of
Hmm.
experience I'm having. And that's why as you spend more time in the industry, you're gonna understand why people spend a lot of money on websites. Not just websites, for logos especially.
Yeah.
There are 50,000 $100,000 logos, and you just be as a beginner, you're like, oh no, you can just pay
Yeah.
me $100 for it. That's what I thought. Like, oh, nobody needs a $2,000 website, just pay me 500 and I'll do the exact same thing. But then I can only copy and not create.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure, man. Like, even this logo right here is just a bunch of lines and two circles. Like,
Yeah,
it's so easy. I can make that in 5 minutes in Figma.
yeah,
But the company probably, this logo probably costs at least, I would say, 10,000.
yeah,
Just that logo alone. And you can say, oh, it's going to take me 5 minutes. I'm going to charge what, £50. But the
yeah,
reason why it's 10,000, right, is because all the designer, whoever created this, I don't know their name, but, um, it probably took him years to come up with that
yeah.
creativity, build up that experience
Intent.
for him to come
Yeah,
up with that logo. And I'm sure
yeah,
it has a story behind it as well.
yeah,
So yeah, it's not just this concept about, more experience. Um, what we just talked about. It's not just about website design. It's about design, and I would say anything, career wise in general. Like, the more experience you have, the less you're gonna get paid for your work, and the more you're gonna get paid for your thinking. And that's what
yeah,
that is, right? Um, so yeah, man. I actually want to mention one thing as well. I think what we just showed you guys right here. The expert website is the reason why it's so expensive or really valuable. Why is that 10,000, 20,000, right? Is because it tells a story. So that's a storytelling website. There could be other websites that do not tell a story and are not that
yeah,
much interactive, but are
yeah.
worth the same or more, right? So it could be, for example, a website, it's SEO, right? Makes it worth 10,000.
Or
It's
just the size of it. It could be a
yeah,
100-page website.
yeah, it could be like a bunch of CMS pages that took a
Yeah.
long time to develop and make sure it's all integrated correctly. That's why it could be $20,000.
Yeah.
So it's not all about, you know, just storytelling websites. Only storytelling websites are worth 10,000. There could be a
No. Yeah.
variety of different websites that are worth 20,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
But
I
we,
get
we
that, but
chose something like this because I think that resonates with a lot of beginners. Like
mhm,
especially for me as a beginner, I wasn't really interested in like those huge 100
yeah,
page websites. I was very, very intrigued with this one page that just insanely good looking, right?
yeah, that makes sense, man, for sure. And
Yeah.
do you have a next topic or I don't?
No, we are on the ending note.
Yeah, sure. So I actually want to say for the majority of our viewers are beginners. So I just want
Yeah.
to talk directly to you guys right now. Is that you guys have seen this expert website is 10,000, 20,000, right? It may seem like it's so far out of reach for you, but that's what all beginners feel, right? Is from even from where I'm standing, Joseph Berry's level of website seems so far away from me right now,
Yep. Yeah.
and people might think that about my websites as well. Some beginner could be saying the same thing about Signflow or Inflow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just got to realize that it's okay to feel like you're not on that level. Everyone has to start somewhere, and it just takes a long time, and it just takes a bit of time, a bit of patience, and a bit of experience, and a bit of hard work to get to
Yeah.
that level.
Yeah.
So yeah, just be patient, put in the work, keep practicing, level up your portfolio, over deliver, as we say, and that's how you can get to this level, and that's how you can start charging these prices.
Yeah. And it's
It's
not
a
gonna
given.
come
It's
in
gonna
like,
happen.
yeah, it's not gonna
Yeah,
happen like today or tomorrow or
yeah,
next year. It's gonna take a long while.
yeah. But
So
all you know,
you better be,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All,
Just
all you
gotta be
got to know is
prepared
that
for
it's
it.
going to happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It just takes a bit of time.
Yeah. And I
Um,
think I don't know whether you watched yesterday's FinSuite's podcast,
no,
but
I
I
didn't
really
watch
like
it.
what Rema mentioned yesterday. He said any new business, the first 3 years is like a landmine. You have no idea what you're doing. You're just trying to survive. You just got to stick in there for at least 3 years. And once after, and it's a rule in business that after 3 years, your business is going to do really well. You're going to start growing. And I was thinking about it. Why 3 years? And I think while I was sitting in the toilet today, I realized it's because in 3 years you've accumulated so much knowledge, and there's so much that's behind you. It's gonna snowball. And growth
Hmm.
is when you have so much coming in that you can't keep up, you have to grow to keep up,
Hmm.
right? So you just gotta wait until that snowballing effect takes over. And that's,
Yeah.
people say it's roughly about 3 years, which yeah, makes sense. Because for me, in my first year to my second year, I saw like a huge spike because of all the work I had done my first year.
Yeah.
Now you're doing that from your second to third year, you have 2 years worth of work. Third to fourth, you have 3 years worth of work. So it's
Yeah.
going to definitely compound very, very quickly. And that's why also there's another rule that if you want to be an expert, you got to spend 10,000 hours on something. It's like 10,000 hour rule, which
Hmm.
is about roughly 2 years. Again, it kind of lines up to that because within that 2 years, you are going to be an expert, right? This is a law. This is the thing I think pilots use. I'm not sure. Don't quote on me on this, but I remember to be a captain, you have to spend 10,000 hours in the cockpit flying a plane. So
Hmm.
that equates to about 2 years of someone's life. So I
Hmm.
think there's some merit to that. So you got to stick it in for like at least 2 years to give all your best, and definitely you'll see a huge change as a beginner, in the 2 years to come.
Yeah, for sure,
And I
man.
think Sammy. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you
Cool.
guys, man. So,
Yeah.
Moreno, you said, I'm not sure if you're still watching, but you
It's
said you got some
actually,
questions. So, if
yeah.
you have any
If you have
questions,
any questions, I think we're at the ending note anyways. We usually
yeah,
end in like 30 minutes. So you have any
hmm,
questions you would
drop them
like to
now,
hear our
and we
thoughts
can
on?
answer them.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yep.
yeah, I
All right.
think we can
Thing is,
just recap this for him
yeah,
until if you have any
for
question.
sure.
For me, how to find clients if you're a beginner, freelance platforms, right? Fiverr, Upwork are the best place to find work. Um, do you need a portfolio? Ideally, no, but you would need to show them what you can do. You can't just go and say how I want to build your website and trust somebody.
Yo, I think your mic got unplugged. No, man. Guys, oh wait, speak.
Yo, yo, yo.
Okay, you're good. You're good. You're good. But I think your mic got unplugged.
Yeah, I was just moving it a little bit. Cool. Okay, we have a couple of
I
questions.
think yeah, I think your AirPod mic is working now.
Ah, shit, that's the shitty one.
That's right. So meanwhile, while you do that, I'll just answer Morena's question. Do you always create wireframes for clients? I mean, I don't think wireframes are necessary, but it all depends on you. If you find wireframes to work for you, do it. But what I do normally, and is what you can do as well, is I mean, we talked about this before in one of our podcasts, so watch that. But just as a summary, what I do first is ask a bunch of questions to the client, like what kind of sections do you want, what kind of content do you want, and that's the main thing. Ask for the content, and then from that content, you can see what sections you can make. For example,
Yeah.
if they have no testimonials, there's no point designing a testimonial section,
Yeah.
and then later you have to remove it. That's just a waste of time. So get
Yeah.
the content in place, find out what sections make sense for them, and then what I would do next is come up with a I would say wireframe slash lo-fi design. It could be a
Yeah.
wireframe. And then
Yeah.
after you do that, confer with the client, tell them, oh, is this wireframe okay? Do you want to add or remove any more sections? And then once they approve of that, then you can move on to the hi-fi design where you design every section to the
Yeah.
to the detail. And
Yeah.
just as a plugin, I actually got a cloneable coming out very soon called SiteFlow, and that is literally going to be uh is going to be directly related to what you're asking for, right? Wireframes. So it's going to be a wireframe slash sitemap builder, and it's all inside of Webflow. So I'm not sure if you guys heard of this tool called Octopus.do. It was a tool where you can design sitemaps visually. You can design each section and just drag and drop them, and then you can show that to a client. And if they confirm, then you can move on to the hi-fi. I'm going
Yeah.
to be doing the same thing, but all inside of Webflow. So you can get there's a bunch of pre-made symbols that you can use to drag and drop inside of your sitemap, and then you can show that to a client. So yeah, that's going to be really helpful for you guys. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you have
So
anything
for me,
else you want to add on.
yeah. So I think I agree on that as well. Um, Usually clients don't get it. What the hell is a wireframe? You're just having a box that has an X on it with, just random text. Clients don't get it. They're like, oh, is it finished? Is it not finished?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
for me, I again take the content, skip the wireframe part, try to make a website with the content that they already have, and then you can see what you can do with it.
Hmm.
Um, I
I mean,
I'm trying to find,
unless they specifically ask you to make a wireframe, I
yeah,
would
then
say
do it.
just
Yeah,
yeah, just jump into at least a lo-fi first,
yeah.
um,
I'm trying to
because
find like
you
an
don't.
example to share, but
Yeah,
it's yeah.
yeah,
Usually I
you
just
don't
go
want to.
lo-fi. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Just go lo-fi and then hi-fi. Wireframe is
yeah.
just kind of adding that extra step that is in some cases unnecessary.
It's
So
a very
just go to the
designer move.
lo-fi.
Yeah,
And one thing that I would urge everyone to not do is do not ever, ever, ever jump straight to the hi-fi, because you can jump to the hi-fi, right? And you can make a design that they do not want completely, and then you have to redo it again, and it wastes so much time. So
yeah.
definitely, if you're not going to do a wireframe, at least for the bare minimum, do a lo-fi design, and then approve that
Um,
with the client, and then move on to the hi-fi.
yeah.
Um, so that's what I would say with that.
I'm scrambling to find like a design to share, but I
All
just
right.
can't seem to find something. But
Yeah, so I think
yeah.
Sammy asked a question. Uh,
Oh yeah,
do
sure.
you target a high paying market or go for anywhere? Well, we like to target high paying markets. Like, I
Everyone
mean, if
does.
you, yeah, I mean, we try to, I mean, in terms of targeting, right? We create content and whoever reaches out to us, reaches out to us. But in terms of
Yeah,
our targeting, we only your targeting is going to come from your portfolio, right? If your portfolio is full of low budget kind of clients, not low budget clients, right, but low budget projects where the project is not of high value, then you are going to get this. You're going to attract the same level of value clients
yeah,
to yourself. So what we always urge people is if if you're not if everyone who's reaching out to you for a project is not in your budget range, is below your budget range,
say no.
increase the value of your current projects by over delivering. That
Yeah,
way you can actually increase the value of clients that are coming to you because they're seeing, you could be having a $1,000 project, but you can over deliver on that, add a couple of extra animations, make
make
something
it
look, yeah, go
5,000.
that extra
Yeah,
mile. increase the value of that project to around 2,000, 3,000. And then the next person
And
that reaches out to you looks at that and says, oh, this is 2,000, 3,000. That's my budget range. And
yeah,
that's how they're going to reach out to you.
and
That's how
you
you can
and that
increase.
will automatically filter out those who are looking for $100 websites.
Yeah,
When they look at your work and they see, okay, that's definitely not $100, they're not going to come to you,
yeah, for
right?
sure. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
in terms of high paying market, do you mean like a industry? Because we were talking about
Like a
clients, but
niche, is it? Right?
yeah, I think in terms of markets, I think he means industry. So
I think
yeah,
so.
we
Yeah,
we we just try to target. I personally just try to target tech companies and service companies.
yeah,
But I don't believe you should target a specific industry because
yeah,
all industries have people that can pay the high budget, right?
yeah. It
So
depends. Again,
yeah,
I think if you like working for tech companies, you can. For
yeah,
me, I don't have a specific niche. I think Webflow is a niche.
yeah. Webflow is a
For
niche
me,
in itself, correct?
I want to do like something like what Joseph Barry did, like those interactive, cool websites. There's different routes you can take. You can niche down to a very, very specific um market. For example, you want to do a
Dentist. Yeah,
property market, you can. You want to do just doctor healthcare, you can. But you have to enjoy what you're doing instead of you're doing it for the money,
yeah,
right?
and yeah,
Yeah,
and another thing, don't just target a market just because there's a bunch of high paying people there, right? A lot of
yeah,
people target only healthcare industries and only tech companies because they know that these industries have the highest budget, right? But you shouldn't
yeah,
do that because of that reason. If you're going to
yeah,
target a market, right, you have to ask yourself, why are you targeting that market? What advantage do you have over everyone else that is targeting that market, right? For
yeah,
example, you could target tech companies because you have experience with working tech companies, right? You're not just targeting tech companies for the sake of it because they are high paying clients.
yeah,
So yeah, be very careful of who you're targeting in terms of your industry that you're targeting.
yeah.
Only
I
target
think
if you have an advantage over them.
Yeah, I just want to like go back to this one. I found one that I can maybe share with him.
Okay.
If you can see my screen. Yeah, so this is what a lo-fi design is. For me, if you
Yeah.
look at it, you won't see a wireframe. If I'm sharing it to the client, I'm only sharing this to the client. I'm gonna say this is how the text is gonna look. There isn't any image or anything like that. So it's just like these are the texts that they provided, and I came up with the taglines, and this gives them a better idea than just having lorem ipsum and just a cross in the middle for the images. And then while you're working, you can also iterate as you go. So you look at this, you can see,
Yeah.
and then it goes like this. How it goes, like iterations, right? So this is what we call a lo-fi design. And for me, if you're working with Webflow, this is the best way to do it. I think wireframes are outdated, and just clients have no idea what the hell is a wireframe.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, for
we
sure.
have another question from
Sure.
Sunny.
It's difficult for a Pakistani guy to target high paying
Yeah,
clients, even
yeah,
when even getting 1K really gets really difficult when they see an Asian guy, they pay less.
yeah.
That
I
is a
know what
tough
you
one.
mean. Yeah,
Yeah, we understand, right? Like these countries, for example, Pakistan, India, Philippines, you
yeah,
know, is quite hard to get, clients that pay $1,000.
yeah.
But at the same time, right, I mean, it's all
You've also
relative,
got
right?
to understand that
Yeah,
there is like a currency exchange.
yeah,
When they're coming, as much as it sucks, I wish everyone get paid exactly what everyone else gets paid. You know what I
hmm,
mean? Like there's no currency exchange involved.
hmm,
People have this thing where if you're going to India or Pakistan or Bangladesh, $1,000 is more for them than it's for someone in the US or the UK,
hmm,
which technically is because of the exchange rate and stuff like that. And that's something I don't know how you can combat. I know there are developers in India who can charge 100,000 or $10,000 and make a killing while being in India. It doesn't matter, whether you're where you are. It's just how much work you can do. But
yeah,
I
for sure.
agree there is an inherent barrier if you're in like an Asian market where people think it's cheaper because your exchange rate is much lower than compared to the
Yeah,
US.
yeah,
And it sucks, right? Like there
yeah,
isn't anything that I can tell you to do besides just keep at it, keep doing good work.
yeah,
And I think if a client is not seeing the value you have to offer, there's no point having that client. Because I know there are clients, for example, FinSuite, they hire people, they don't care where you're
From
from, they
India.
pay you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Harshit is from India. They are not saying, oh, we're going to pay you less than what we pay other people. No, I think they pay them same what they pay
Fairly,
other
yeah.
developers as well. Yeah. So
They
it
have
doesn't,
people
it
from
just
all over.
depends.
Yeah.
They have people from all over the world, man. And I think
Brazil,
it's,
Philippines, I believe.
yeah, it's pretty cool because I think that's how it should be. It should not be charging less because they do. But I don't know what you can do,
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Sammy.
it
Yeah,
does. It is kind of like a bummer, right?
yeah,
I mean, it's all about a client. What he's expecting, right? If he, for example, let's say there's two people, right? One of them is from the UK or US. One of them is from India or Pakistan, right?
yeah,
If the Pakistani or the Indian guy charges $1,000 and the UK guy or US guy charges $1,000, automatically a client's assumption is, okay, this Pakistani guy is overcharging me because $1,000 worth more to
yeah,
him than it is to
yeah,
the US guy. So
yeah.
it's more of a perspective thing, right? You have to convince the client that yes, although $1,000 is worth a lot more to me than it is to a person from the US, it's still worth it
It's
to
still
invest
the
in
same
me.
amount of work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because I mean, for me personally, there's I think there's an untapped talent market in India, Philippines, Turkey, all of these places, right? I've seen so much like very very talented designers and developers, and they're very is very untapped, and
yeah,
I think you just need to stand out, right? Because there's also, I mean, is just a thing, right? There's a lot of skepticism involved, right? When a person is, for example, again, using that example where a client is looking at a person from the UK versus India, I don't know, for lack of better terms, right? The BS meter is a lot higher for a person in the India than it is for the UK, right? The skepticism is a lot higher, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
in India there's a lot of scams, and in
yeah.
Pakistan there's also a lot of dodgy.
The reputation
Um,
isn't there.
yeah, the
Yeah,
reputation is not there, right? So it's hard to
yeah,
break through that. I understand, but
yeah.
you have to find a way to break through that, through
With
your
again, that comes with
portfolio and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. And I think I can mention Dave. I've worked with him. He's
Yeah.
from India. He does great work. I pay him what he wants in USD. I don't pay him in rupees or whatever. I pay him what he asks for the work that he does. And I
Mm-hmm.
think these are the people that you will find if you have a good work ethic, you have good portfolio, you know what they're doing. People are
Mm-hmm.
willing to pay. It's just that if you're feeling, I know what it feels because I was born in Malaysia. I felt while I was working from Malaysia, I was like, £1,000 in Malaysia is like 5 times the money. Like, yes,
Probably
it
more
is
than that,
worth,
to be honest.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is a lot of money, but like
it can
I
last
am
a
doing
long time.
this,
Yeah.
it can last me a long time. Like £1,000 website is enough for me to live at least a month in Malaysia, but I'm still doing the same work. Why should I be, I'll be doing more work than somebody getting paid £1,000 here. Why should I be paid that? So I understand what you're going through, but it is something that you need to combat with good work ethic, good portfolio, good clientele. You have to find people who are willing to pay you what you're worth and
Mm-hmm.
not where you're from.
Yeah, sure. I think Sammy, he said he shared his site above. You can't see where you shared it.
Yeah, I don't think I have the link as well.
Yeah, I
But
can't see the link. Can you send it
yeah,
again, perhaps?
but yeah, I think that pretty much wraps the
Yeah, I don't think
question.
we can see your link, but you know what? DM
Yeah,
one of us on LinkedIn and we can get back to you on this.
yeah,
But yeah, we have gone a bit over time here. But yeah, if you guys have questions, just DM us on LinkedIn, mainly LinkedIn. Even
LinkedIn.
drop
Yeah,
us an email. Even drop a
yeah,
comment over here and we can reply to you. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, man, thank you guys very much for listening. There were quite a few
Actually,
viewers over here. Thank you for the
yeah,
questions. We really appreciate it. And
yeah.
make
I
sure
think I
that you
think the
guys leave a
Q.
like as well.
Yeah, we shouldn't have a Q&A if we have audience. I think it's just much
Yeah.
nicer to answer questions. But yeah,
Sent again,
cool.
but sure, we'll DM. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
DM
we
us on
can still
LinkedIn and
see
we'll
it.
get back to you.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, because we
Thanks,
can't see
thanks,
it here.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Make
See you
sure you
guys
leave a
next
like
week.
and see you guys next week. Oh,
All right.
see you
Bye
guys
bye.
next week. Bye bye.
Bye. And